people were reported dead from coronavirus today. That totals about 4,500 in the state. Senate Democrats had a meeting today, and they want to know how many more people have to die before you consider scaling back on your reopening plans.
Well, we're working hard every day to prevent not only the deaths, but obviously significant hospitalizations. I think if you look at all the efforts that we've done to protect the most vulnerable and compare that with some of the other states who did different policies and maybe didn't put as much emphasis on that. And we've had people from the Florida Healthcare Association, some of them say, we've been able to save probably thousands of lives when you look at all the efforts to protect our residents of long-term care facilities. And so it's something that we take very, very seriously. We're doing all we can because every life counts, and it doesn't matter whether you're 10 years old, 30 years old, or 90 years old. We want to be there and do the best we can to help folks, particularly those who are the most vulnerable to a nasty virus.
Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. Welcome back to the channel. Must confess, I am a little confused. I tell you, YouTube, all of the social media platforms, they've become such an echo chamber. I can tell you right now, the last couple of weeks have definitely, at least if they've done nothing else, they've helped clue me in that it is not all in my mind, meaning the echo chamber phenomenon that is happening, not all in my mind, and that content creators across the board have had it with YouTube and other platforms, and not just simply the political channels. People are really just up to here with the silencing, the echo chambering. I don't know, maybe restrictions will be loosened after the election, or maybe they will continue it, until the election is finalized, or then again, maybe they'll just simply continue on. Maybe they've already begun to enjoy the kind of power and control they have over public opinion. I don't really know. Okay, but I'm doing my best to work around it, as you can imagine. I won't, basically continuing on in my Some Assembly Required series. Have you guys been enjoying the Some Assembly Required series? So in that I guess in that avenue, I will just simply present data to you and allow you, although that's pretty much what I've always done. I've always advocated you guys to come to your own conclusion. Told you guys I am nobody's leader. I am nobody's person to look up to. Don't form your opinions around my opinions. I just simply want to be able to present you with the information that I've uncovered. Okay, enough of that preamble. So what I just played for you was a news conference, I believe it was a couple of months ago, from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He was challenged there by a liberal news outlet, basically accusing him of, your reopening efforts are damning us all to death. Damning us all to death. What I'm scrolling for you right now, 2018s were said to be lower than 2017. So I think a lot of you guys have seen this data before. I don't know where to put my selfie circle. I don't want to obstruct anything. And there you go. You guys can make of it what you will. Make of it what you will. As we see, accidents were 13,000. This all totals roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of about 45,000 deaths. That that 45,000 number does not include accidents or any of these type things, you know. So I'm just simply making you aware that in one state alone, by all means, Google the death rates for all 50 states if you want. You're going to find that they're going to go up and down per capita. My whole point in presenting this data to you is to simply make you aware and remind you that death happens in large quantity every year. My saying that is not a conspiracy. It is not misinformation. It is CDC's own data, not my data, CDC's data. Okay? Okay, so you can take that information and do with it what you like. Let's see.
Let's hope that keeps going in the right direction. In our hospitals, another sobering number. There were 422 COVID positive patients, 230 patients awaiting their tests. That's a total of 652. That's the highest number since August 6th. So that's a couple of months.
Okay, some choppy playback here, so sorry for that. All right, let's go. Now we got some numbers here. Let's see, did he give us all the numbers? Because I don't want you to think I'm just pulling this shit out of my ass.
Highest number since August 6th. So that's a couple of months. And as I said, not just since August 6th, the numbers of COVID positive patients and the total number of patients in our hospitals of care, and this number has also increased over the past several days, 52 requiring use of a ventilator. Sadly, with a heavy heart, we report an additional 11 losses of life confirmed to have been from COVID-19 complications. The total of confirmed deaths are now at 14,307 deaths as determined by the Communicable Disease Service, overseen by in 88. So of the 11 deaths, Judy, 7 are from the past 7 days, with 2 each, including 2 each from October 5, 6, 7. Again, apples to oranges, which we say every time we say it, but just so everyone has a spot sense.
Just kind of want to see if I can get that. Get those numbers played for you again. It's kind of choppy, the playback, sorry.
2, let's hope that keeps going in the right direction. In our hospitals, another sobering number. There were 422 COVID positive patients, 230 patients awaiting their tests. That's a total of 652. That's the highest number since August 6th. So that's a couple of months. And as I said, not just since August 6th, the numbers of COVID positive patients and the total number of patients in our hospitals have been increasing over the past several days. A total of 148 patients were in intensive care, and this number has also increased over the past several days, 52 requiring use of a ventilator. Sadly, with a heavy heart, we report...
Okay, so let's take a look at our numbers here. Now, Governor Murphy says it's only 422 that are COVID positive, and that 230 are awaiting. Yet, for whatever reason, he feels the need to lump those numbers together, adding him 650 some total. He wants to lump these numbers together. Make of that what you will. However, let us do a little math. All right, so I am sorry. I will not be going with Governor Murphy's 652 total. I will go. I mean, it's enough that I am running with his 422 because there's a lot of discussion about PCR and how many times the test is being cycled and how that reflects on the test's accuracy. I'll just leave it at that. Like I say, I'm not drawing conclusions today. So we have 422, what he is calling confirmed positive COVID cases. In case you did not know, there are 113 hospitals in the state of New Jersey. Okay, so that comes to an average, we'll round in their favor, about 4 patients per hospital. Now, let's see. He said 148 were critical. So 148. In case you didn't know, there are 72 critical care hospitals divided by 72. Okay, so two critical care. So, and I mean, good Lord, I don't even know if I'd be, because I think that would be like an improper fraction for me to get the average of 52 who require ventilators divided by the 72 critical care hospitals. The point that I am saying is that I would like you to have a good understanding of what the hospitalization average is here in the state of New Jersey. I encourage you to acquire your own current status for your state. Run your own statistics so that you understand what's going on in your state. But this is what's going on in New Jersey. And of course, on these numbers are why things like Thanksgiving dinner is being shut down. School is being shut down. Quality education is being taken away from our young people, especially, I mean, quite frankly, say it in any year, but especially during the elementary school years, the formative years, it's extremely critical that they get quality education. I'd like to show you something if I can.
You see the man stand up, and then police rush in to save his life. Pull me back! The voice you hear is that of Atlantic City police officer Eric Nuttall. He says this happened 2 nights ago on the roof of the 13-story Claridge parking garage. A suicidal man was found on this tiny platform. So Officer Nuttall, a member of the crisis negotiation team, actually got up on the platform with no barrier blocking the edge to save him.
I saw that man, and I knew he needed help.
Nuttall says before the body camera footage starts, he spent roughly 10 minutes talking with the man.
You could just hear the pain in his voice and the way he was talking. I try and build a rapport so he knows that there are people out there that care.
While he was up there, he knew not only was the man's life in danger, so was his, but in that moment, it didn't matter. And when the man stood up to jump off, Nuttall dove for his legs.
I knew when I had his lower half of his body and I had his one leg, and I knew I wasn't going to let him go.
Luckily, responding officers were standing by and pulled them to safety. Pull me back! And afterwards, you could hear Nuttall telling the man,
I love you, all right? We're here to help you.
he says we've all been through rough patches in life, and his job as a police officer is to get people through them.
The conversation that we were having, that man has so much potential, and he was faced in crisis at that moment, and I knew I needed to help him.
Okay, now you can see just how tall that parking garage is. We asked Officer Nuttall,
Apologies to Officer Nuttall. I am having technical difficulties today, but yes, I did want to put the Atlantic City Police Department, not just Officer Nuttall, but all of the responding officers, in a good light. Never let it be said that the Total Control 871 channel is anti-police. I am not. I dish it out the way it comes. They get their kudos and they get their criticisms. So If you don't like your coverage, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Yes, shout out to Officer Nuttall for assisting that person in distress. I cannot say if the gentleman was right or wrong for his suicidal attempt. In this humble, independent journalist opinion, and in my own life experience with depression and tyranny, it comes down to a quality of life issue. Whatever is going on in your life, is the quality of life, has it deteriorated to a point where you no longer want to live? It is true that a great many people will commit suicide over issues that are solvable. That had they just simply reached out, a solution could be found. And it is also equally true that not every problem has a solution. There's a lot more I could say about that, but I'm going to move along. You have to simply make those decisions for yourself. All right, next topic. All right, this one I really just couldn't resist. Of course, we just heard from Governor Murphy talking about how the hospitalization rate, make of it what you will. I believe also in that report and other reports that are circulating right now, they're basically tantamounting Thanksgiving dinner to a death sentence. Let's check it out, shall we? I don't want to be accused of sensationalism, so I'm just basically going to scroll through this. You can possibly pause and read at your own discretion. One of the things that I do find very interesting toward the end of our report here is this statement. Murphy did say that schools are looking good with 22 reported school outbreaks and 83 total cases to schools statewide. Still, state officials say this year, excuse me, I'm probably reading this wrong. Let me try this again. Still, state officials say this is not the year to travel for the holidays or have out-of-state visitors, even asking folks to consider bundling up and having Thanksgiving dinner outside. So let me see if I've got this right. Your goal here, your end goal, is to keep people healthy, and because I don't want to be accused of misinformation. I just simply want to report what you're saying. You're saying that for people to be healthy, rather than eat in a climate-controlled indoors, they should bundle up. Okay. They should bundle up and go and eat their dinner outdoors rather than in a climate-controlled environment. Fun fact. Cold temperatures. They do not transmit virus, meaning that if you, because we often hear it, get inside, you'll catch your death of cold. Cold temperature has no illness contained within it. The way it happens is that the cold weakens your immune system so that viruses that are either in your environment or possibly already within your body, which normally your body's immune system would have been able to handle, but because it is now weakened due to cold, your body was subjected to cold temperatures, that your immune system is now compromised, and a virus, a germ, a bug that you would have ordinarily handled on your own has now caused you to become ill. What is my time here? Okay, it's not too bad. Illness. Ever since this whole pandemic thing began, I've been following outbreaks within my own time frame, lifespan. And I heard somebody saying somewhere about a 1977, some sort of outbreak. I really don't even remember what it was. It was some sort of flu. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. That's right. I remember being around that time, being very ill. Not a whole heck of a lot that I remember. It kind of comes through like a dream, and that's probably because my fever was so high. Although one thing that I do distinctly remember about it was that my sister, I guess because we went to a Catholic school, St. Nicholas. And one of the things that they do is at the beginning of a school class, they have their prayers. Actually, they pray a couple of times during the day. They pray in the morning, noon, and before class is dismissed for the day. They have certain prayers. I don't even know if I would even remember any of them. Anyway. Um, hmm. Anyway, so my sister, and they pray for people who are ill, and my sister went to school and she reported that I wasn't in school because I was ill, and they prayed for me. And one of the things that my sister did, or one of the classmates gave her a Star Wars action figure. One of the one of the Sand people, I believe it was, Star Wars action figure, and and once my convalescent period was over, the kid asked for it back. I didn't have a problem giving it to him. I like Star Wars, but it just wasn't my number one thing anyway. But that kind of led me to go over in my mind, comb my memories as to how often do I get significantly ill. And ironically enough, it does indeed tend to sync up with the timetable of when some bad flus were going around. Otherwise, I really don't get sick. I know, what is it? The last time I had the flu, I was somewhere between 16 and 17. Group home. What is it? Children's Center group home. We went to some sort of fair out of state. So we drove from Detroit, Michigan to neighboring Ohio. Do I want to say, is it Cedar Point? I can't remember the name of the place. Anyway, I've spoken in prior videos about what I call biospheres. Travel, you are acclimated to the germs in the air, to a degree within your biosphere. My biosphere seems to be about, I don't know, a couple hours distance, 360. Meaning I'm in South Jersey. If I were to travel to New York, I might be pushing it, my biosphere. And if I were to go to upstate New York, then I'm really pushing it. I could pick up something that I'm unaccustomed to dealing with. So if there's anything that the pandemic and I might be able to come to some sort of agreement on is that it is indeed possible for possibly relatives who are far enough out of your biosphere to come in. They may or may not pose a risk. However, I just don't see it being of any larger risk from any prior year. So, make of that what you will. But yeah, so I think I talked about that bout of flu that I had too. It's when I had like 104 fever, and the nurse was like, tell him to get his big ass up. There ain't nothing wrong with him. And then she sees the 104. And I remember she started talking to me all sweet, like, ooh, Boop, you okay, Boop? I'm like, she was very lucky that I was out of it. Okay, because that 104 had me on my ass. But yeah, I was revving up or trying to rev up to give her a dressing down. I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't get sick. I'm too goddamn evil. I'm too ornery. um, but yeah. Also, also, as far as illness history goes, the whole SARS 2001 2. Okay, when SARS rolled out, I didn't get the flu, but I did get a respiratory infection because, like I said, I didn't connect any of these things. And I remember I was working at the Hilton Casino security, and I would come up to the security command to utilize my albuterol inhaler. Um, I know this. For me to go to a doctor and seek out a prescription, then it had to get bad, because otherwise I just avoid healthcare professionals at all costs. As you can imagine, they're not my favorite people. I'm sorry, but today's healthcare does lack a lot of empathy. Your race gets in the way. In my particular case, my weight gets in the way of getting quality healthcare. They just see a fat black nigger who they just simply come to their own conclusions. Their snap decisions. You're just here to get this, that, and the other and game the system. So yeah, when you occupy a certain demographic, you do tend to just avoid the healthcare system. A lot of people say that black people, urban blacks, are suspicious, and the whole Tuskegee thing. Well, that's part of it too, but honestly, it's just because we're just sick and fucking tired of not being believed. So, why go to an emergency room? Sit for how long? Get how big of a bill that we won't be able to pay? Just to be given some crap prescription that we just could have just as easily spent $10 or $12 and bought some off-the-shelf junk, which doesn't really work, and what they gave you in the prescription doesn't really work. And anyway, I digress. So yeah, it's why a lot of us minorities just simply avoid the healthcare system. We're just tired of just being scoffed at and judged. And but yeah, so SARS. Did I have SARS? I don't know. And also what I wanted to discuss with you guys, what is my time here? 29. What I also wanted to discuss is if I was exposed to SARS in 2001 too, did that give me some sort of a immunity? I know it's such a taboo word. Oh my God. Don't you dare say anything that takes you out of the running of needing one of our precious vaccines. The cough that I have, I'm almost certain that it is some type of scar tissue. I don't think, for some of my longer subscribers, you know that this cough of mine started small. About 2 years ago now. In some of my way back videos, I think, what was it? When I was at the mail, where my mailbox is at, they got a business center, and I was doing a video going over my unlawful tickets for Officer Shepard, Lord of the Lies, Officer Shepard, and I was shooting video, going over some of the video in that, and I was having difficulty with a cough, just trying to keep myself from coughing. Anyway, what I will say about the 2001-2 SARS that I may or may not have had. I utilized the albuterol, and I remember when I used the prescription, ran the course. You know, the lung capacity, it wasn't diminished, but I just couldn't help but notice that when I would take a deep breath, which I could do, I was probably about maybe 380 pounds then. Take a deep breath, but I couldn't help but notice that there was just, I don't know, I'll say 3% maybe of that deep breath that just simply wasn't there, Like I just couldn't hit 100% prior to, whatever I had picked up. And so, it's interesting. And that was, like I say, that was almost 20 years ago. And I haven't really had any issues as far as sickness like that, like germ sickness. So like I say, it's I don't know. Does God look out for the homeless? He keeps us, In other words, we don't run for sniffles, head colds, even flus. We don't seek out help for it. And has that given us a certain amount of fortitude that perhaps maybe some of you people don't have? I have thoughts, and this is all I'm going to say. Again, I don't want to be accused of misinformation. I just have certain thoughts about persons who habitually use annual flu shots and the impact that it may have had on their ability to fight off regular flus that the rest of us don't seem to have too much of a problem with. So, I don't want to lose my overall point here. So we just saw in our article telling you, don't travel, stay home. Thanksgiving dinner could be a death sentence. I couldn't help but notice this. Stacked directly on top, okay, of our Thanksgiving death, you can now gamble again. How do you feel about that? Going to Thanksgiving dinner might very well prove to be a disaster, a tragedy. I believe that was the word that's being used. Thanksgiving dinner will turn into a tragedy of death. But you can go and gamble in Governor Murphy's Atlantic City. How do you feel about that? I don't know. Thanksgiving dinner is death. Gambling the poker table is A-OK. Sort of like this little ditty. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It certainly made the rounds on social media. Let's take a closer look, huh? Wow. So in case you can't tell, this is a person wearing a face mask while playing his beloved video poker at a casino in Las Vegas. And he is smoking a cigarette while wearing the mask. You know, because he doesn't want to get infected with anything that could cause his death. I'm just saying. Well, thank God the casinos are insisting that you wear a mask. We don't want you getting anything toxic into your lungs.
Election Day. Also tonight, YouTube taking a stand against conspiracy theories. It's the latest tech giant to ban the far-right QAnon movement, considered a domestic terror threat by the FBI. But is it enough to stop its flow of false information? Kate Snow has more.
Suburban mom Mindy Wilson was horrified when a 3-year-old died outside Pittsburgh, allegedly from child abuse. Then a comment on a local news story took her to an internet conspiracy phenomenon known as QAnon.
I believe some of the theories could be true. I believe some of them are great fairy tales, but it all ties together.
She's convinced of a completely unfounded tenet of QAnon, that elite politicians and celebrities are running a child trafficking ring. If I were to say to you that everyone around them says these are rumors, these are conspiracy theories that are completely unfounded. And
that is a lie, because Hillary Clinton is on video. There is raw footage of her out there torturing a little girl.
So if the former Secretary of State were sitting here and said, I've never harmed a child, that is not a real video, it's a fake video, you would say...
I would look her straight in the eyes and tell her that she's a liar.
She also believes the mainstream media is involved. I can tell you that I personally know absolutely no fact to support what you're saying. I mean...
That's what the media is paid to say. It's the sort of open doorway, and once you go through it, you find out about some of the more fringe aspects of QAnon.
Chloe Neely is a mom of 2 who spends Sundays on the soccer sidelines. She subscribes to some of Q's more outlandish, unproven theories. Do you believe that there is a satanic worshiping group of people who are trafficking children and drinking their blood?
I would like not to believe that.
But do you believe that?
I wish that wasn't, I hope it's not true.
But you think it might be? Or is?
Yeah, I think it definitely could be possible, yes.
Both women voted for President Trump and plan to again. Do you...
I think I know where Chloe is coming from. I hope I am doing my best to keep my time in check here as much as I possibly can. QAnon, I've spoken about them very seldomly and briefly before on the channel. I really don't know a whole lot about the group. I would seem to agree that they do subscribe to some very, very fringe, far out there things. I know I am routinely called a Q or Trump supporter all the time in my comment sections, when I speak to other people in comment sections. I am not a Q supporter. I don't follow Q. How can I say this? I know where I'm going. I set course and speed, using a little Star Trek analogy. I set course and speed, and I travel to my destination. As I go in a straight line to my destination, you will have some wacky, far out groups that basically kind of zigzag along my trajectory. I guess maybe that's the best I could say. And as they zigzag, because they go rawing off the abyss this way, rawing off the abyss that way, occasionally they will intersect, because I'm moving in a straight line. And they will just kind of intersect where we will briefly and momentarily be in agreement on something. I suppose that's the best that I could really articulate it. I am not a follower of Q. I really don't know too much about them. Some of the stuff that I've seen, I can definitely see where there's a hotbed of bigotry and a whole bunch of other stuff and a lot of right-wing stuff, and but all I can really tell you is that occasionally our thought process will intersect. I'll tell you this though. I often hear, who was the latest one? So a lot of the liberal talking pundits will talk about why do they believe? Why do they believe? How come they just don't put wholehearted belief in the pandemic? Well, what have we talked about thus far in our video? I've talked about infection rates, claims of hospitalizations, closing down schools, but our Borgata casino gets to stay open. Do you understand? I bear no ill will to the employees of the Borgata. Frankly, I think it should all be open. For the record, I think the Borgata should be open. I think the school should be open, and I think we should be voting on secure voting machines in person. And yes, if anybody else wants to mail in their ballot, I think they should be allowed to do that too. But when you take away schools and secure voting machines over a claim of a virus that is so deadly that if we come together, it will kill us en masse. But the Borgata can open up for business, and that's safe. Or how about this? Jump back to our NBC.
Tonight, a new study may calm fears about flying. Researchers examined how simulated virus particles move through the aircraft, both in flight and on the ground, conducting 300 tests in empty United Airlines planes over 6 months. Using both masked and unmasked mannequins, researchers released more than 180 million particles into the cabin. That would be equivalent to the number of particles produced by thousands of human coughs. The Department of Defense report found when masked, not even 1% of the particles made it to the nearby passengers. 99.7% were filtered out within 6 minutes as fresh outside air cycled into the plane, made even cleaner by hospital-grade HEPA filters. In comparison, researchers say it typically takes the average home 90 minutes to cycle similar particles from the air.
The risk of getting coronavirus on a plane is probably less than any other indoor space that I can think of.
While the study couldn't take into account passengers moving around the cabin, turning to talk to neighbors, or eating, researchers say wearing a mask is the most effective protection.
Be smart, take precautions, follow the rules.
Tonight, many flyers breathing a sigh of relief that the air they're breathing on planes may be less risky than once feared.
Okay, now I'm not even going to begin to address the efficacy of mask in this video. Basically, what I just played for you is a statement that getting on a commercial aircraft and flying, and need I remind you, YouTube was deleting anti-commercial aircraft flight comments. Taxpayer bailout. I did a video on that. They're basically saying that getting on our commercial aircraft and flying is safer than being in your home. Your home that has much larger square footage. I get what they said. They're saying that it takes 90 minutes. Yes, but there aren't 90 people in your home on average, okay, or 200 people. Okay, so they're saying that getting on our aircraft, and it wasn't in this one. There was also another news article about it. They're saying that because the air filters downward or something to the effect like that, and it will, and hey, again, I agree. I think it is safe getting onto a plane, and I think it's safe going trick-or-treating, and I think it's safe having Thanksgiving dinner, and I think it's safe voting in person on a machine that's secure. Okay, I think all these things are safe. I am bringing this information to you so that you can see the sharp contrast. You're being told this is safe, that is not, back and forth. Tell me, why do you think these sharp contrasts are being made? How about this? Film crews return to Philadelphia, boosting the economy and spirits. I bet they did indeed. So I believe this is Adam Sandler, I think it is. Rather than hear me prattle on, let's just give a listen.
More film crews filling the streets of Philadelphia lately. With production resuming, jobs are coming back, along with some tourism and, of course, excitement and energy. Alicia is here now with Hollywood's return to our city, and we love to see it, Alicia.
Oh, yeah, it's great, as we like to call it, Filmadelphia. Right now, the lights, camera, and action are back. Perhaps you've seen Adam Sandler and Queen Latifah here in the city filming the Netflix basketball film, Hustle.
Everything that we're shooting right now is about Philadelphia. Every single thing. You know, we're not doubling for New York. By the way, I love doubling from New York. We're taking that business, we're creating the jobs here. But right now, every single thing that is shooting here is Philadelphia.
When we see these cameras rolling, it's a sign of life, a little rebirth in the city, and we need it.
We have more than 1,000 people working right now.
And that's what we like to hear. Thanks to our friend Huey Dillon for sharing these images of Adam Sandler and the cast filming on Market Street this week. Kate Winslet is also here filming HBO's Mayor of Easttown.
Okay. So now we've got poker gambling okay. We've got commercial aircraft okay, despite the fact that its square footage is significantly less than your home, and its population, people around you, are significantly higher and increased. Now we have filming opening back up right along with all the rest of Hollywood. Why? Well, if Hollywood gets back into action, creating the movies and TV shows that we love so much, isn't it logical to conclude that that will be an effective tool to keep you in the house? Every television show is a pacifier. I'm short on time, or I would have cut to Maggie Simpson. Unfortunately, you get me. Every show is a pacifier to keep you placated. Okay? They are keeping you distracted. Okay? So, just like with all the other things that COVID apparently will not be impacting. It will not be impacting gambling. It will not be, or to be more specific, there are reasons, okay? we've come up with an excuse. They create their reasons for why this is safe, just like how we saw with our HEPA filter and this, and the air flows from top to bottom. And so you basically just create your own excuses for opening up the businesses that you want opened. Okay, so Hollywood gets to open, but Frank and Ian at Attila's Gym and all the others, okay, they get to be put in handcuffs. They're considered not essential. Okay. I'm just simply bringing the facts to you. You can make your own decision about it. Okay, people, this is long enough. This is what's happening, okay? Corporate media is telling you that certain venues are safe and certain venues will kill you. And I am here telling you to think for yourself and come to your own conclusions. That's it for now. So, hold it. I got just enough time for this one last thing. Hold on.
The president is stopping child trafficking rings, pedophile rings.
Yes, I do.
I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much, which I appreciate.
A video that helped introduce both Chloe and Mindy to QAnon, now taken down by YouTube. But many Q believers are already migrating to new platforms.
Dun, 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 dun. New platforms indeed. Yes, very much indeed. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Total Control 871 Bit Shoot. I only have a couple of minutes. This thing's going to shut me off. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But yes, here I have. So I hit my playlist, not my playlist. I have found that I have been able to upload everything basically that that YouTube won't allow me to have. So I will link it below. Everybody, we all have seen it coming. If you want fair, unbiased, commercial-free, independent journalism, then please check out my BitChute channel. It's definitely they're jumping ship. I'm losing time here, and I'm trying to say so much. They're jumping ship. I don't know. I guess maybe I'll have to do more on my BitChute channel in the next video. But it's not just because I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, it's such a hateful, awful place. But the reality is that it's not everything that you think it would be. There's a lot of content creators that are into art and science that they're not even political at all, but for whatever reason, YouTube wasn't allowing them to express themselves. There are a lot of independent journalism on here. I subscribe to Rebel News. I don't believe everything that they say. Like I told you, I'm moving in a straight line. They tend to zig and zag, and so I'm losing time here. We'll have to talk about brainwashing and stuff like that, and how what Kate Snow was talking about, how you can be indoctrinated. And what can I tell you guys? I told you this doesn't get hacked. I'm too fucking evil and surly. Okay, yeah, I don't get hacked. Anyway, all right, BitChute. I'll link it down below. Check it out. If you like it, subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it. It's not monetized. There are no commercials. So if you like watching independent journalism content, commercial free, by all means, I'm your guy. All right, guys, that's it. Total Control 871. Shoot over to the BitChute.